And we have returned. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our third of 4 matches on the day, or the evening, the morning, whatever time it is where you are. This one is going to be LGD Gaming versus Newbee. I'm your host, LD of Beyond the Summit, and I have a co-caster for this game, and I'm delighted to be joined here by Blaze. So Blaze, big match for both teams, kind of setting the stage real quickly. We've got a 4-1 Newbee in good position. If they win this one, they're pretty much guaranteed to go to the playoffs. They'll be 5-1. Very difficult for more than 4 teams to be in that department. They certainly are in a good spot. If LGD lose this, they're out. They're 2-4. They have no chance. Even if they win out, they might not have a chance anyway. But currently sitting 2-3, they have to win all games from here to have a shot.
Yeah, a long road ahead for them, but looking forward to seeing how they climb it. And yeah, good morning. I'm glad to be here with you, man. Sorry I missed the first couple, but now looking at this draft, it looks to be a pretty interesting one. Kind of standard as far as the Deathball stuff goes. Razor and Shadow Shaman to open up for the push. Faceless Void and Skywrath, they kind of have a lot of, not necessarily counter push, but when you try to pressure the tower, they're going to be there to answer it. They have a lot of pick-off potential, easy kills with the Ancient Mystic Flare, and then, of course, the Chronosphere is really great for setting up other ultimates. We're going to see maybe Sand King picked up for the 4th pick, Nature's Prophet here for the kind of counter push, or not counter push necessarily, but counter split push is a better way to put it, as he's going to be putting pressure on lanes that they aren't going to be involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know if I would say interesting picks, but it's definitely strong picks from both teams. Razor first pick, the Void Skywrath Mage reply, great burst. As you mentioned, Shaman gives you that Roche potential on the LGD side. It's a support we haven't seen quite as... Like, there was a period where Shaman was getting picked even, like, first overall, but he's more of, like, an end of the first stage, or sometimes even slips through to the second or third lately kind of support, but Nature's Prophet for Newbee, so they get versatility in their lanes. They have a hero that offers the split push to give the Void and Skywrath space to go around finding their kills, and also to slow down that Shaman's level progression if possible, which will be very nice for them. But it does open the question of how are they going to look to lane this one? Do they? Oh wait, they're playing without Hal, by the way. I do want to mention. I'll just remove the overlay for a second. But yeah, Hal is apparently not playing. Mikasa is standing in for him, so not sure if this is a permanent thing or anything like that. Probably just a one-off. But I will say that Hal has looked a little sloppy lately, like not quite in his form of TI. So if it wasn't just a emergency type thing, it wouldn't shock me, please. But yeah, anyway. I'm wondering how they're going to lane this one. Do we see the Void offlane or the Prophet, do you think? Or even maybe a Prophet or Void mid?
I know that there's been a lot of trending for Nature Prophet in the safe lane, Nature Prophet in the mid lane, but I just think in general that he's going to have so much more control over what happens on that top lane. Shadow Shaman moving in to get a Hex off and just get an easy kill. It's going to be a kill on Void or Nature Prophet alike, because essentially his job is to prevent you from getting your time walk off. Mm-hmm. So I think that both heroes would be zoned equally, but at least with the summons you can mess with the creep wave, you can do a little bit more there, and Shadow Shaman's movement speed and right click early aren't going to be enough to prevent you from doing that. So I think that Furion would have a lot better potential in the offlane, and then of course with those levels he'll be able to get the Wrath of Nature up early for some counter push. So all in all, obviously both are options, but I'm less favorable towards that new meta Nature's Prophet, and I do think he does provide a lot of impact on that offlane.
Yeah, Jakiro now picked up for Newbee, so another hero that can go to the offlane that we've seen a lot of teams do, but looks more like a support Jakiro. And generally when you see support Jakiro, you really want setup for his combo, which the Chronosphere is the ideal setup for it. Maybe you could say RP is similar, but Chrono's a lot more reliable. So yeah, I'm liking this combination. It gives them a lot of team fight, some good push potential to go with the Nature's Prophet, but it does leave them with a clunkier partner for the Skywrath Mage. Not as likely to be able to set up early kills with these two.
Yeah, it's interesting, the ban into pick combo, Newbee banning out Tuskar and Centaur, and LGD then picking up Brewmaster and Bristleback. One way or another, they were getting these kind of drinking buddy bruisers that like to get in your face and cause some real difficulty there. So it's kind of interesting that they were knowing the style that Newbee were going for by banning out the Tusk Centaur, but there's still enough heroes on the board that kind of are equal in that capacity. The Brew and the Bristle, they do really just get up there very quickly, especially when Brew gets his blink, and they are very in-your-face heroes. They're heroes that want to put pressure on. They exploit the fact that your Skywrath has low armor, that your Nature's Prophet is lacking direct escapes if you can just get some stuns on them. And yeah, I think that there's a lot of value in these picks. That being said, the most important aspect is that they're tanky because Faceless Void Skywrath are just going to try to burn you down as quickly as possible, especially the Brewmaster before you can get the split off. So it's nice just to add general durability to the lineup. Razor will definitely thank them for it, and adding in the mech, maybe even the pipe, well, in towards the mid game will be really really nice for them, just sustaining through the fights and weathering the storm of the ultimates. Because once the Chronosphere is gone, if your team fights, if you have 5 heroes still alive, the fight's practically yours already. So I like LGD's picks, and I think they have a good mentality going into it.
By the way, chat is saying that Mikasa is Miracle's nickname, and actually, I just did a quick Google check, and it is. So
Oh, it
this
is
is
his
actually
nickname,
this
but
is actually Miracle standing in, I think.
well, I have him on my friends list, so I can check for
He
you
could
real
have a
quick.
second account, but yeah,
No,
actually,
yeah, it's his. He is currently tagged up as Mikasa, but it's a completely different profile pic, so it is a different person, unfortunately.
okay.
Unless he's playing Dota 2 on 2 accounts at once. I don't know.
I think it's actually a different. Yeah, I think there is another one in the Chinese scene.
Mm. It's pretty popular, honestly.
I don't even. Do you know what Mikasa is? Is it like a
Oh,
character in an anime or something?
yeah, it's Attack on Titan or Shingeki no Kyojin. Very popular.
Okay. No, I actually saw Attack on Titan, but the name just didn't jump out at me for some reason. So, okay. So yeah, it's not Miracle apparently, guys. Sorry to disappoint. It's the other Mikasa from China. So, and that's doubly confusing because Miracle was playing in China for a while, Blaze. But yeah, he's
Oh,
not
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Interesting final pick for Newbie here. They'll go for a Queen of Pain.
Yeah, and that's going to be actually a hard hero to really make things happen with without really good positioning. Like, actually, Disruptor is going to make his life difficult too. But in general, like, I respect Moo's Queen of Pain, but going up against this lineup, if Razor gets tanky early, then the only person you're going to be able to bring down really quickly is going to be the Shadow Shaman. So he has to make sure his ultis count. He can't just go for one-man Sonic Waves this game. 2 or 3 every fight is kind of the expectation here, and they also have the pick-off potential against him. A Hex opener, Disruptor will get his static kinetic down, and that'll be enough for them to get a nice pick-off. So I kind of feel like Queen of Pain in this lineup in general has more expectations on her than is expected against her. It's really easy to pick her off. It's hard for her to make her presence known in this capacity, especially since, again, that pipe is probably going to get picked up in the mid-game.
And with that, let's go ahead and run through our lineups. We've got LGD on the dire side, desperate to win 2 in a row to have a shot at the playoffs, if that's still even possible for them. I think it is, but it's not even in their own hands anymore. You've got In July on the Bristleback. Faith will be playing your support Shaman. Shadow Shaman. Sylar handling the Razor. Yao on the Brew. That puts Momoya onto the Disruptor MMY. And Miwa on the Radiant side. Well, Newbee. Sangsheng will be playing the Scarth Mage. Drops a ward up near the cliff. Mikasa standing in for Hal will be in the offlane. Rabbit going mid as the Faceless Void. So if a 1v1 against... Well, I'm sure he's hoping it's not the Razor. We'll see if it is. Sylar isn't really itemizing for mid, though, so they may have predicted this correctly, that it will be Yao actually going mid. Not even sure if it's him, though, because he's not rushing a bottle. But, yeah, anyway, we've got Moo on the Safe Link Queen of Pain, and Banana will be playing your Jakiro. So, running Void mid, man. If this is a Razor mid, he's going to have a rough time.
Yeah, it's a very unique decision there. I mean, the Portman Shield obviously gives you a lot of raw durability, but, I mean, he's not really going to be able to bring a lot to the lane. There's nothing as far as rune control or bottling that he really wants in this, so it is a very odd placement for him. If he gets a lot of support, if Sansheng is just there to stay on top of the lane constantly and just batter down Sylar with those nukes, then I could see some value in it, but... otherwise, he naturally doesn't tend there. It's just going to be something that Sansheng has to make up for by that harassment. So I think by level 2, Sylar's going to put a point in his passive, and it's going to be more difficult for the Skywrath to get clean harass on him.
Yeah, so dual lane mid, very annoying for the Razor. But at the same time, this will weaken their other lanes a bit, and we'll see. Mikasa up against the tri-lane, so Shaman should get his early pulls off unless there's a nice treant block, and Mikasa will summon those now, but he's too late to block the first spawns, and in fact, the timing of these is kind of awkward, as they are likely to be, well, mid lane a bit of harassment. As Sengchen goes in and Sylar looks to trade, but yeah, these treants aren't going to be up to block the camps at all. So if they want to go back for a stack pickup,
they're going in. Time walk in.
Really hard on Sylar. Gives up the first blood. All he had to do was
honest,
back.
Yeah, to be honest, Sylar went in for like way too long of a static link there. Like, you can't really go into that position without boots first and expect you to get any link time off on a target. So Sansheng punishes it initially, and I really was surprised, but Rabbit goes in. And they do get a very nice kill, so dual lane successful already.
Yeah, it's one of those lanes where normally you'll just sit back, level up Plasma Field, and then just like bottle Crow and look to farm that way. Harass when they're up on when you have the hill advantage, but he was at half health, and I was just like, okay, I think he's gonna back off now, but well, clearly he didn't.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he pays for it.
now at least he knows that Sanshang's mana pool is empty, so there's no threat of that to happen again. But I kind of feel the damage is almost already done if you're feeding the Skywrath Maids of First Blood and the Faces for the first assist. By the way, does the Nick SYDM from Vici Gaming ring a bell?
Yeah, it's their manager, or no, it's their coach actually. I think.
Okay. Well, apparently that's Mikasa. That's what Miracle's telling me, anyways.
Okay, I'm pretty sure SYDM's their coach. Vici Gaming. Oh no, you know their coach was I think it was QQQ. Maybe SYDM is a second coach or a manager. He used to play on Vici Gaming as well, but like that was like their original roster when they had CTY.
Yeah.
Like, and SYDM was one of the first players booted when they started making roster changes. So okay, yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure QQQ was the coach for Vici Gaming. Not sure if he still is. So, yeah. For those who aren't familiar with him, he's the old eHome 357, very old school player. But yeah, that's a different person from Mikasa. It sounds like. Name changes are always so confusing. Like, I can only imagine how confusing it must be for people trying to keep track of MMY. He's finally stopped changing his names, but he's alternatively been known as X, Die, and MMY. I mean,
yeah,
the guy's got 3 names, and they're all completely unrelated to each other, so.
Yeah, a little confusing. We're actually going to see some 2v2 action on the mid lane here, as Sancheg will take some early harassment. Not the most durable hero, but he does have one more Tango to chew through. Void's almost out, though. If they're harassing one hero or another, either way, that's Tango's off the table for Rabbit, and he's going to have to get something with his next item pickup that'll help him reinfuse. Moo on bottom lane is just going to try to zone out in July a little bit here. Going to be rather successful in that, but it's only because this Magic Stick allows him to constantly have a sustained mana pool up against the Bristleback, which is a pretty huge pickup for him. Even still, he can't zone the Bristle entirely. He's going to get some good levels, and we'll be seeing his impact right around like level 7, level 8 when he moves in.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the mid lane with the 2 ranged heroes now, it gets a little bit more difficult. They'll try to jump in on Sylar, gets off a static link, really aggressive movement. Glimpse was a second too late from MMY, and with Mikasa joining the fold, they'll cancel his clarity and get the kill, get out safely. Another death for the Razor of Sylar, as Newbee is, well, off to a great start here. And they're also running the Void Prophet cores. Like, this is not a lineup you want to be feeding these early kills.
Yeah, this obviously, and this is going to be a position where, like, once he gets the Chronosphere up, which is not going to be too long from now, the Jakiro could just rotate in. Right now, he's not having a great time in the offlane, though. Faith is controlling him very well up top. He's actually going to get the Ether Shock and just right-click him down, and every time he comes up to the wave, it's going to be like that. So, with great creep equilibrium from Yao up on the top, and the current position, they have to bring in one more. Mikasa's coming up, and he's going to be looking to get a little bit more out of this.
Yeah, with the double damage rune and TP cooling down, they might be able to find a kill elsewhere on the map. Rabbit, no ultimate yet, but this bottom lane for Bristleback could be dangerous. I'm curious if he'll TP in. He's thinking about it. He's really considering it. I think they're actually discussing it now, but they're going to mid instead. It's on to Sylar. They decide to keep him down on the Razor, and Sylar gets bashed just for good measure. And will be dealt with. While beam up bottom lane, Moo dives, he unloads the ult, gets a solo kill against the enemy. Bristleback lives on 1 auto attack from the tower. There was triple stacks of Quill Spray up. That was getting dangerously close to him going down, but he did the math, he did it right, and he gets a very important solo kill. So they're winning mid now, Blaze, they're winning the safe lane, and they're still getting their levels in the off lane here. Banana level 2, not the best for the Jakiro, but the Prophets hit level 4, has Phase Boots online. This is 3 lanes, I would say, being won right now by Newbee.
I'd say at least 2 for sure. The way Moo played that was really smart. He actually had 5 Quill Spray stacks that, like, in his first back and forth with him. He let the Bristleback bottle sip once, and then waited, had an exchange where he had the 3 stacks, and then all those turned into stick charges. All those turned into raw mana that he could use for that combo, which you usually don't see as early as level 6 because of the mana requirements, but because of the Magic Stick, it's so damn easy for him to just keep filled up and keep using those nukes. So he's able to get a nice little kill there. As far as experience per minute, we're going to be seeing Void and Queen of Pain just completely outstretch anybody on the side of LGD. And even Shansheng is going to get some face time down in the bottom lane. Green spawn is going to be at the 6-minute mark, of course, and Injuly is covering bottom, is however going to spawn on the top and be covered by Faith.
This is not good. This is not good. Tramp block by Mikasa, the coach showing off right now. Or not the coach, the Well, maybe the coach, but definitely the stand-in either way. Great micro there. Easy kill.
Very well done. The phase boots allowing him to get that extra right click. Trying to snipe a creep as well, but Yao's not going to stand for that. Gets the clap off and is going to be able to clean up these neutrals easy.
That's a concern. I mean, the biggest issue for me is Sangshan's about to get level 6. They can't really stop him from doing this plays, and as soon as he does, then we're just going to see Chronosphere Mystic Flare ganks all over the map. Not to mention the Nature's Prophet ult, which is still a couple of minutes off, but yeah, they're about to jump in bottom lane. In July, if he sticks around one more creep, yeah, he's done for. Concussive shots there, the nuke damage comes in, and that is the squishiest Bristleback I've seen in a very long time. Easily killed off.
What do you think about this bottle build-up? In a lane matchup against a Queen of Pain and going into a mid-game where you're going to need to be kind of on the front line, do you feel like the combat heal is enough, or do you think it's just going to be interrupted too often?
Which
The Bristleback bottle. I don't think you see it all that often, but...
Yeah, it's normally here that's in the middle of the fight. Like, obviously, oh, they might glimpse Moo back here. Yeah, they do. It's only level 2, and he can blink out, and he's just kind of waiting, but he gets shackled. He hesitated a little bit. Can he blink out in time? Sticks. Still waiting to blink. Now Mikasa arrives. He hits the 3-hero ultimate. Big plays from Moo, then blinks away. He'll end up living for a while. He gets the double. He lives on 40 HP. What patience from him. While in the middle lane, Rabbit and Sangshan combine with the Chronosphere Mystic Flare for yet another kill. Newbee are pitching a shutout against LGD. Up 10-0. Oh my goodness, Moo. What a play by him.
That was absolutely absurd. And I like the movement from the stand-in. He kind of teleported in, but didn't want to reveal himself immediately. He kind of baited them into this trap, and when that sprout came through, he just had the complete buffer zone where the Queen of Pain could feel safe but still cast her abilities, and they were just caught like rats in a cage. It was really, really well executed by Newbee, and it's something that you wouldn't expect out of that glimpse play. Like, they had everything they needed. It would have been a clean pickoff against most teams, but Newbee, they got their back, and they turned it around without losing a single hero. Just absolutely absurd. Now that Queen of Pain is an extremely valuable kill at 4-0-1, as well as being at level 8. So Moo's going to be their target number 1, but for now the action's in the mid lane.
In July, and Sylar will push Newbee back for now, but if you're Newbee, Blaze, you just want to wait for Chrono to cool down. Then you just go for these Mystic Flare pickoffs around the map, and along with that, you have Nature's Prophet ult now available to be tossed in. Mikasa can go back for a Midas of his own and just accelerate his farm a bit this game, and completely pressure on LGD at this point. If this goes long enough, and there's like a BKB picked up by, say, Rabbit, maybe the Nature's Prophet and Queen of Pain get one as well later on this game, then you've got already, Brew's pretty much useless. Disruptor's pretty much useless. Shadow Shaman is potentially useful if he gets off a Hex, but is not farming a quick Blink Dagger, so it's going to be tough for him to hit it. And MMY gets solo kill top lane by Sangshan while I'm saying this. So yeah, I'm feeling like if Newbee are allowed to farm and they get their BKBs up, not only do they have the better late game with the Void Prophet, farm Queen of Pain, but they also really can't be killed very easily.
Yeah. Moo's got a Robe of Magi right now. I would really like that to be turned into an Orchid, just to control the Bristleback even better, along with the Ancient Seal. Like, he's obviously going to have to go into a Manta or BKB to break through that, but if you can get it even faster than that, then he's going to have a really frustrating time.
Do you know how does the interaction work with that? Like, do you amp... Oh, damn it, I want to talk, but bottom lane he's busy getting kills. And July might end up going off. They have another Blink Scream. Moo can die for this, and he does. He's got the mana pool to support it. Blink, Scream, double kill for Moo. Now 6-0-1. Still a shutout. 13-0. No sign of a turnaround here for LGD. And Banana will just TP out. They can't stop this one. Can they kill him in time? They finally get on the board. Barely. He almost made it out. So anyway, my question was, when you like have Ancient Seal and the Orchid, does like the bonus damage from one of them get amplified further, or it only amplifies the original damage for each?
Well, it should. Well, essentially, what the Orchid does, Sylar's going down very quickly on the bottom lane, and mid lane they force out the Brew Split. But yeah, the Orchid damage essentially takes the difference between the health you started with when the Orchid was applied and the damage that you received since then, and then it just puts a unique instance there with the Soul Burn to deal the damage at the end of its duration. So because the damage is amplified by Ancient Seal in the first place, yeah, Orchid will take that and take it a step further and amplify that as well. So although you don't consider them synergetic because of stacking silences, it's going to bring a lot of damage. And if that's what they're looking for with this kind of lineup where they already have all these burst nukes, it could work.
The math on that is probably pretty insane, to be honest. We'll have a quick pause here, but level 2 ultimate isn't far off for Moo, and he's already got Oblivion Staff #1 picked up. This Newbee team is like a fire lit under their asses, man, I gotta say. They're looking better with the stand-in than they did with Hal playing. I don't know if he's contributing a lot as far as the decision-making, if he's just whipping him into shape, but whatever the case is, they're doing a lot more with Mikasa right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just general smart movements across the map. Like, Mikasa's just the +1. He's the extra that secures everything and makes it more stable. Like, all these movements already are really smart from, I mean, the Queen of Pain, obviously Mu, has been playing Bristleback all game long, and outplaying, I think is the better word. I shouldn't leave that to be ambiguity. But Faceless Void Skywrath, they're playing their combo well. I mean, they got the first blood without any assistance, and I really feel that the Nature's Prophet is there just to add a little bit more. The big play he made was that sprout down on bottom lane when they got the turnaround, and but otherwise it's just a couple extra right clicks here and there. It's saying, okay, well, we have some leverage, we have an advantage, let's snowball it. Let's get a few hits in, and he's been definitely contributing, that's for sure. He's been listening to his teammates, he's been on point with all their expectations. I wouldn't say necessarily that he's calling any shots, but he's certainly enhancing what they've already got going for them.
That's a very diplomatic way to put it. Then, well, without hearing the communication, you can never really know for sure. But yeah, SYDM is the Newbie coach. I should have alt-tabbed earlier and just double-checked, because never know if chat's trolling or not. But yeah, at least the last TI4 he was, and he was photographed with the team several times. People are tweeting pictures at me, so to be honest, I don't think I saw him once at the event, but I guess the difference this year was at Key Arena, like, you really didn't get too much interaction with other people, like, working the event or the players the way you did at Benaroya Hall. It was too big, man. Like, you could maybe hang out with the players in the players lounge a little bit, but I didn't really see the Chinese teams there at all. I think they were mostly up in their booths, and yeah, I hardly saw them at all, to be honest, so I didn't even realize he was at the event. But obviously, whatever he was doing worked for them well. So nice to see him contributing as a player in this one.
Yeah, and still got the old tricks, I suppose. He's moving about pretty well. He's going for an old build here, the Nature Prophet Necronomicon, so no crazy right-click shenanigans, no mass null talismans, just going for the tried and true. Let's get our push on, and this will make it so that even if LGD just starts saying, okay, we're getting picked off individually too much, let's answer with a 5-man, let's go in Deathball, he can just go ahead and pick another lane. He can just say, okay, well, you guys work your way towards mid, I'll take top all the faster, and obviously, we've seen that Newbee can hold. They've got the Macro Pyro up now. They've got Wrath of Nature in a minute or so. And they can just use that to clear out the creep wave over and over. So that LGD, really, whenever they commit to Mass Serpent Wards, that's all they get to commit. Speaking of, Faith is only level 5.
Yeah, Faith is not... I'm really disappointed in LGD's performance plays. Like, I just look at this team and I see so much talent, but just... They're just... It's not like this one game. It's just every game I've seen them, they're kind of dazed and confused, and no one really seems comfortable. Like, I remember watching the DK with Lanham and MMY playing together as supports, and they always were on the same page. They were working together really nicely. It hasn't really felt like MMY and Faith are quite having that same synergy, which, to be fair, they had more time to practice together in DK than these two have had on LGD. But just across the board, I've been a little disappointed in them. And then you look at the rough game yesterday where you thought they had IG where they wanted them, and then they somehow threw their lead away. IG had a great comeback and played well, but if LGD had played that correctly, they would not have lost, for sure. They had that game in the bag if they played it right. And it's just, they're an embattled team at this point. Big expectations with all these big names, but they're not delivering right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, that's just something that they have to work their way through, or, in Twitch chat's opinion, probably disband. But, you know, I hope they stick through it. Obviously, we still have a few months to go until the Chinese New Year, and I think that they should, at the very least, do their best to see what they can accomplish with this current roster and this current format before they consider moving on to anything else. Obviously, there's more behind the scenes with the contracts and the transfers and all that we don't get to know until it's official. But for now, I think that LGD, they are, despite being an experienced player, in an infant state as far as the team roster goes, and they're trying to find ways to build around Sylar, and it's kind of the issue that you've seen with many teams that build around hard carries, is trying to find the tempo, trying to find it so that they still have some great mid to late game control and to set him up for the hard farming role, but at the same time make it so that their lanes aren't weak, that the early stage of the team fights aren't weak. And right now it kind of feels like they're drafting so that they're saying if we win the lanes, then we'll do this and this and this. But so far, we've had a lot of atrocious lanes from LGD, and it seems like most of the teams know how to draft against it.
Yeah, and it's not just lanes; it's also just poor play. Like that mid lane kill just shouldn't have happened. Sylar could have just walked away, healed up, waited until he could farm his bottle. No reason to give up a kill to a faceless void dual lane mid. Yeah, there's a Skywrath, but that's an avoidable kill. There was no rune pickup. There was no smoke gank. And then, obviously, great play by Newbee bottom lane in that fight with the Queen of Pain, not taking anything away. And to be fair, Bristleback is a bad matchup to go against Queen of Pain, but they should have just done a better job in the mid lane, honestly, with Sylar. And if their supports had just gotten their levels up, I think they would have been in better shape. Like, the Nature's Prophet didn't block the first spawn. He was too late with his Treant summons, mistimed it, and they could have gotten a lot of early levels off of that. But, well, just LGD, like you said, just... They gotta work out the kinks, but they gotta do it soon because a lot of these big tournaments in 2014 are either underway with their qualifiers or their qualifiers begin very soon.
Sure.
So their chances for this year, at least, are gonna start running out if they don't put it together.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen all that much of Sylar solo mid Razor. Like 1v2 in particular seems to be a matchup he's not very comfortable with. Like he doesn't even have opponents passive right now, despite there being quite a few single target spells that people want to chase with. Let's Shadow Strike and Skywrath Mage skills. Top lane though.
Jump onto Angelai. He's been silenced by the Skywrath Mage, and Moo will finish him off. 4 heroes converging for that. While meanwhile LGD are smoke bottom lane. And looking for a potential pickoff here. MMY in the front lines. Yao right behind him. Does have his blink now. And the ultimate still cooling down for a little while. But, man, it feels like it's been a long time since that pause. They'll try and gank mid lane, though. They'll wrap around. They have the Static Storm available as well. They'll need to get this off quickly. Rabbit actually has his Mask of Madness. He'll purchase it now. Blink clap, and now he's trapped by the Static Storm. Get like a split second there to maybe react, but too late, and they end up getting the kill.
And Glimpse back. Banana's going to be heading right back to top lane. He's going to have to push out the tier 2. There's no real other reason to do anything.
MMY's not so lucky, though. Mikasa's waiting for him. Can they burst him down in time, though? Quapple would have taken too long to wind up and didn't want to waste it.
Yeah,
now, we'll find Banana as well in the jungle, but blinks away. He's waiting for backup to arrive. That comes from Sylar with the level 4 static link. He'll quickly finish him off. Plasma Field already thrown. Needs like 2 more auto attacks. Queen of Pain completely airballed by Moo. Well, it's been highs and lows for him. An amazing ultimate bottom lane and a complete whiff there.
Yeah, they just assumed that they'd be chasing him since he was so low HP, but they learned their lesson bottom lane where they kind of chased too far into Moo and tried to make up for a lost kill. But Sylar in the mid lane, still no passive, is going to just get gone on hard, and there's no hope for him. So, yeah, they do get the pressure on Banana. He got sent back up top, and, you know, without a TP scroll, you're kind of stranded there, but he just rejoins his allies. They're able to keep him alive, and it's just nothing seems to be going LGD's way. Even the Void kill was very hard to get because he backtracks the friggin' Thunderclap, the big source of damage, and they still have to send in a bunch of right clicks, and the Static Storm just barely enough. So we're going to see that Orchid come out, and the Brewmaster just picking up his Arcane Boots. He's not going to have anything to answer that.
And Rabbit's just waiting for a good time to go in with the Chronosphere, but they've already used their ultimate on the Brew. This, not the best Chronosphere, to be honest, from Sylar. Only catching out one hero, and does, well, from Rabbit, rather. Does catch out Sylar as well, but he's able to retreat out safely. Now throws the Plasma Field. They'll end up losing the second hero, the Prophet and the Jakiro. Jakiro will buy back, but not too much at Veil, as Moo is also chased down as a blink in 3, but they might be able to kill him off with the Shackles. The follow-up for Mikasa. He tries to turn this one again, and Moo will end up living as a result. Great defensive sprout, depriving them of some vision and right clicks, and now they chase Faith up to the high ground. The buybacks from Newbee turning this around. The double buyback, in fact. Rabbit will get 1 kill, but tanking a lot of tower shots with level 1 backtrack. He will be forced off the fight. Now they glimpse him back in, right into the Thunderdome, where the Brew's waiting, and they get the turn. Now TP in from Injuly. And he'll be chasing out Banana. Banana has no TP scroll. If they can get a range for a Blink Clap, he's done for. But yeah, there's backup now.
Pretty short cooldown now, so they're going to get somebody for sure. Sunshine and Banana might both go down if they can just close out, kill one and glimpse the other, but it's just going to be the pickoff of Sunshine here.
Bit of an overextension, and still the chase from Yao as he moves forward onto Mikasa, hunting for Banana too. He's got a clap in 1 second. Still no TP on the Jakiro, and now with the Urn Charge, they're going to kill off Banana as well. The turn comes from LGD. It did cost them 2 buybacks, but they'll get in the end. I think it's 4 or 5 kills. The turn once again for Moo, though. He's rejoined the fight here bottom lane, And he ends up living, getting multiple kills. Now will go down, buys back immediately. They're still chasing. LGD have herded a Newbee from their base to the tier 1 tower bottom lane. And still this fight goes on. But they'll lose in July. That next buyback, it's enough to get an additional kill as Rabbit pursues out MMY, has a glimpse at 5. Needs to juke into the trees, and with static, or with kinetic field here, he'll be able to just TP out. Blake, silence, not enough.
Yeah,
I need a team fight recap, man. I don't even know.
Well, you'll see that net worth
quadruple buyback on the Radiant side. They lost like 5-6 heroes total. And yeah, there was no buybacks on the Dire at all.
Yeah, you'll see the net worth shift very, very quickly, because that was just absolutely insane. LGD, they took anything that they could get, and they have a great team for pursuit. They have the Blink Dagger up on the Brewmaster, they have the Glimpse on a short cooldown, the Bristleback loves to just pick a target and stick to him, so in the end, yeah, they're able to chase them all the way out from the base to the enemy side of the map, to the tier 1s, and yeah, just kill after kill after kill, racking up those buybacks completely fruitless, and LGD, I don't think they're back in this game necessarily, but they got what they came for. They needed some kills, they were desperate for some kills, and they took everything they could get, so well done by them. Now we see on top lane, Rabbit, probably in a bad spot.
Bottom lane, LGD are moving in here. Oh, you meant bottom lane. Yeah, they'll glimpse him back in. Into the Static Storm, which is waiting. Kinetic Field traps him in place, and they're going to lose the Faceless Void for this. Really nothing Rabbit can do. A series of extremely over-aggressive plays from Newbee and some good counter-ganking from LGD. Suddenly they're marching back into this game, Blaze. There is no Prophet Midas for Mikasa. He ended up going for the Necro Book, so they don't have the biggest economy, but they do have Split Push. And they'll try and use that here to turn things around. Banana's going to TP out top. They're just going to rotate the whole team off this bottom side of the map. This is like the sad place for Newbee. Anywhere to the right of that line is a bad place where they get killed off a lot. But they get the tower top. Now the TP's coming. Brew actually canceling his. Had to be careful as there was a Quap Orchid when he TP'd in, and will wisely not go for it.
Yep. So, I mean, Roche is still going to be an option very soon, now that the LGD have kind of put their Mass Serpent wards down. They've committed their static fight to a single location, and now Newbee can kind of work around that. And I think that the best thing they could do is try to probably at least pressure the pit, get some good wards up in a location next to the Secret Shop, and secure that advantage, because they've already given up a lot more kills than they intended this game. I mean, there was a point where they were like 10-0.
It was like 14-0, I think, at one point, before they started giving up kills.
Building up a huge shutout, and then they just start giving momentum back. They give killing sprees, they give all this gold the way of the opposition, and
a lot of diebacks too, as well.
Yeah,
like at least 2 or 3 diebacks in that whole engagement. Yeah, it was a lot to give up. Not to mention when you buy back, of course, there's the thing that people often like just forget about when they're observing, but definitely notice when they're playing, which is you're not getting gold off of. You're not getting that unreliable gold, so.
Yeah, that's definitely really live for the second time around anyways. That a lot of them got picked off on their second lives. It's like
I guess that's the benefit of time. The silver lining. Well, bottom lane Rabbit's being picked off again by the Static Storm. Can he Chronosphere? No, Shackled, held in place, and picked off again. They've got a Blink Dagger on MMY now. Very difficult for him not to get trapped, and Faith is getting close to his own. They continue to pick off Rabbit and just punish him on the Void. He was having a great time mid. He's now 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just switching it up. They already said, okay, you've gotten enough out of your lanes. You've gotten 7k net worth on your Void. We're not going to let you get any more, and we're going to take this Roche on top. The Trains will scout it out, and they will be able to sprout and send in even more, but it's going to be the Macropyre that has to be perfect here.
Well, the Ice Path is quite good. Then the Macropyre follows this up, and suddenly LGD want to run. Roche is still ticking down, though. They're going to commit to this. The Void respawning in 2 seconds. Mystic Flare, nicely placed on Injuly, almost finishing him off. Ward's being farmed up now by on the high ground. Newbee, unable to get through. Oh, snatched it! Didn't get the last hit, but they get the Aegis on move. Blinks it at the right moment. Sylar will kill him off. Now tries to TP out. Not successful. The Necro minion slapped him down, and it goes from Mikasa TPing out to just turning and right-clicking. He'll kill off Faith here. The Chronosphere ended up trapping too. And Rabbit will now hunt down Injuly. A nice turn, but they'll lose their Skywrath Mage as Injuly continues to retreat. He'll be going down here momentarily. Yep, just a little bit too many bashes and physical damage. The nukes from Mu, enough to finish him off. So the Aegis snatch, but the Roche gold does go the way of LGD. And they still lose, well, this time Newbee only lose support, so they'll be much happier about that fight.
Yeah, so it's still kind of a dead even net worth, but they walk away with the... Or they actually don't get the Aegis, of course, she died really, really quickly. But they at least know that they can invade in those circumstances in the next cycle, and they feel confident about that. As far as approaching the mid to late game and scaling, with Rabbit having this BKB up, he shouldn't have really too many issues here. The Razor can cause him some difficulty with the static link, but he's not a tanky Razor. He's got 1500 HP. Moo is happy to just right-click that down, and when the BKB is not active, just cast a couple of nukes. So I would have to say that the Razor is a pretty easy target, and if they get a good chrono and then just focus the Sylar down, they shouldn't have too many issues in the near future. But that said, we obviously have seen them in a much superior position at the 10,000 gold advantage, and they've kind of sort of thrown that away. So all the same, I would definitely think that the more stable play would be for them to just kind of have Mikasa pushing out one lane, them going for a 4-man movement with the Chronosphere, and looking for this bottom tier 2.
Well, they're looking for gank bottom, but they don't have their Void here. And he has no chrono for 5 seconds anyway. Rabbit is trying to finish his BKB. The rest of Newbee kind of wanted to fight, but they will, I think, very wisely retreat out. And yeah, I mean, like I was mentioning earlier this game, once they get BKBs on Newbee, your only way to deal with that is a Blink Hex. If a hero pops their BKB, you're just not killing them. Like, they'll be able to time walk out, blink out, Prophet can probably just TP out unless Razor has still had a shitload of damage, so very little control. I mean, the one solution, I guess, is an Ags for MMY, but still you have to catch them out, and he's got a long way to go if he wants to farm that.
Yeah. I'm really, like, I mean, I love the Blink Dagger on the Disruptor. I think that it gives him a lot of much-needed mobility, and he's allowed to close in with Glimpse a lot more. They have a lot more potential for pickoffs, and they leave Newbee less room for error, but at the same time, he isn't going to be surviving these fights very often. If he commits, if he invests himself in the fight itself, then he's like 4 right clicks away from death. So he really does have to be very careful about his positioning and try to survive, because he needs the gold to get to items like Aghanims, items like, I don't know, even a 4-staff would be really good right now.
But Newbee has been blunted in their aggression, that is for damn sure. Mikasa's now using his Necro 3 just to farm the woods, maybe we'll do a bit of scouting with this. But yeah, they're not using their items nearly as offensively now, and they've decided it's a bad timing for them to engage, which I kind of agree. Right now, I actually think LGD are pretty damn strong, but with the triple BKBs, or at least the double, we'll see if Prophet wants to go for one as well, then Newbee will have a breath of fresh life as they head towards the mid game and even potentially the late game. So we'll just see them sit back, farm those up, split push, and hey, that is a strength of their lineup and weaknesses of LGD. Outside of this Disruptor, LGD has very little ways to punish split push. And as you mentioned, if Disruptor's trying to punish it, then he's also putting himself in harm's way.
Yeah. As far as wards go, though, we actually see that the Radiant don't have that much vision. Obviously, the Treants have been scouting, but they're not permanent wards, and it's very difficult for them to feel confident going in and pushing out and going for picks when they know that they don't have that much intel of what's waiting around the bend within the Fog of War. So specifically this last minute of night is going to give them a little bit of cause for passivity, where they don't want to invade, they don't just feel confident in their vision, other than on the bottom lane where this ward is in place.
Bottom lane, Chrono, leap in onto Sylar. He got off his BKB, but still gets getting chomped down on by Rabbit. The bash right at the final hour. Just enough to secure that kill. Now they'll lose Faith as well, and this fight is going to snowball. Rabbit will even begin chasing it in July. He's going onto the Bristleback. He's not even considering the other easier backline target in the Disruptor, but he gets out of the Static Storm. MOY unable to hold him in place. Now we'll go down with the BKB on Moo. He can fight his way through this one. In July's Quill's doing decent damage, but not enough. They've lost 4. And it's what we said, just the strength of these BKBs. That was with Razor getting his off. Sylar, quick reactions. Didn't matter. Not at all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, they just nullify so many components of LGD's team fight. The Mass Serpent Wards didn't even get a chance to come out. The Disruptor doesn't have anything that isn't countered by Magic Immunity, and they just walk right through it. So now with the Primal Split on cooldown, they're just going to push on the tier 3. Forget Roche, they can break the high ground here and now.
Well, yeah, and if not Killer Rax, definitely a tier 3 will be damaged significantly. They're afraid of buybacks, I suppose, though.
Yeah, the Glimpse chase. They don't want what happened in the mid lane to happen again.
Yeah, and that Disruptor just now respawning. So, with the Blink Dagger, his chasing range is... At that point, you're looking at, like, 3,000-ish range of chase potential. That's like, what, 2 screens or so?
Definitely.
Something like that.
It's pretty insane. But, yeah, I mean, like, a lot of Western teams would have gone for that push. There definitely wasn't enough threat from LGD at that specific timing interval to actually force them back. But this is a game that they don't have to take risks in. They have the advantage. They're going to continue to have the advantage as it progresses. So if they can leave the racks up and make sure that they don't throw any more of their lead, then that's perfectly fine, and that's going to be giving them more stability as we go into this next phase. But for now, the Queen of Pain, she's feeling pretty good with her 9-second BKB as far as durability, but she's got to find a couple of targets to pick off specifically in the fights. Like Razor no longer is the pick on me target because he does have that BKB. Bristle and Brew certainly not, because yeah, I was able to get that BKB split, and Bristleback is a hero that can manage, especially as he progresses towards his pipe. So it's got to be the Shadow Shaman or the Disruptor that he looks to pick off and looks to burst down before the fight really starts. If he can just take one of those ultis out of the picture, as we saw in the bottom lane, then it's going to be just completely disabling LGD from any comeback.
Yeah, and the truth is that Moo is equipped to kill both supports if he's quick. If he gets the ultimate on any one of them, that's and a Scream, that's like the death for almost off the bat of the Shadow Shaman. The Disruptor is a bit tankier now with an Ogre Club up on MMI, but still, he's a long way to go before he can survive the full focus fire of the Queen of Pain. And that's not counting Rabbit, who also is well equipped, not just to kill them off, but he can even focus on the Razor himself. So I agree with you. I'm still thinking Newbee's in control of this game, but it does hinge on them making good decisions about when to engage. As Mikasa will use his Necro 3 to try to do a bit of D-warding here, or maybe not, just some farming, I guess. But yeah, there you go. He'll start killing off some wards. Wants to probably sprout this cliff to get some vision. No, he's not going to do it in time, looks like. He's worried about getting ganked.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, if they have the vision there, they'll try to make him regret that kind of decision. The Disruptor is still in the mid lane, but as we mentioned, he has a huge range of initiation, and it's going to be pretty absurd when he can actually get the full advantage of it. But for now, it's not going to make it much of a difference if they can just catch them in as a full 5-man movement, and that's what they intend to do with this smoke. The little treants are pushing things through. Nature Prophet is baiting.
Oh, they're ready to chrono. Rabbit, leap in. Caught out too. He gets off his BKB. Just clipped in July on the side of this, and in Sylar unable to survive. Will Rabbit chase for more? I don't think he really can. His BKB's
What the hell was that
off.
Static Storm? Like, he kinetic field Static Stormed inside is the Chronosphere where Rabbit
gets pulled back in by Glimpse. Moo now joins the fight. He gets off his ultimate, but in Faith able to survive for now. The Quap will right-click him down. Now going to chase on MMY. He should be able to get off both supports. No, he's afraid of the Bristleback chase and will retreat. So in the end, so far, a 2-for-0 as the Void managed to make his way out. Too taggy with Backtrack to be brought down, and will be now rejoining the fight. Moo. Who's he go for? He's looking for these backliners. Jumps onto Moo. Gets picked off. Let's take that, Disruptor, he says. In July, now caught by an Ice Pet along with Yao. Both of them in trouble. Rabbit with one bash. That'll probably seal Enjoy's fate. He gets killed off. It's a wipe. A full wipe in the base, and LGD, they've had enough. They GG out. They had the one good moment where it looked like Newbee might throw this game, and we saw the graph dip, but you just can't give this type of Newbee draft a lead. You have to at least break even, if not win the lane, step a shot. Yeah. Too much late game.
And the snowball was real. I mean, LGD, they, specifically Faith, didn't have any HP, any durability. So he got picked on every fight, he got silenced every fight, and that was 2 or 3 fights straight where he didn't get the Mass Serpent wards out. So honestly, we didn't feel the strength of Shadow Shaman this game, and it was just barely that we saw the Disruptor at all because of the chase that we keep on talking about from mid to bottom. But all in all, Newbee just played a great game, executed their lanes very well, and LGD weren't able to get that comeback swing more than just a few kills.
Well, on that note, guys, that is going to wrap up Newbee versus LGD. We've got one more match coming up, and it's the Toilet Bowl Blaze. It's the 2 0-5 teams, LGD, CDEC, and Tong Fu. Obviously, they're playing against world-class competition, so it's really no knock on them that they haven't gotten a win yet, but the good news is one happy team will at least get one win after this match. The loser, though, might end up getting swept out of Starladder without taking a single game. So with that, guys, wraps up our 3rd out of 4 matches. We will be coming back in 25 minutes for the final game of the day, LGD CDEC versus Tong Fu. Stay with us. You're watching Beyond the Summit.